Hello and welcome. This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartiga. In the headlines, there is no record of over 38,000 Haitians leaving Guyana between 2015 and 2021, and the government is looking to impose visa requirements as it suspects a major human trafficking ring is afoot.
We have to tackle this issue once and for all.
Demerara Bank comes in for high praises for being the first domestic bank to access a US $7 million line of credit through the IDB's Trade Finance Facilitation Program. Guyana orders an additional 86,000 doses of the Russian-made Sputnik V vaccines. A region, one man is missing and his family fears he was attacked by a wild animal. In tonight's feature, 3 members of the LGBTQ community shared their stories. And in sport, head of the Athletics Association, Aubrey Hudson, gives executive C grade, and New Zealand beat India to win inaugural World Test Championship final. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. More than 30,000 Haitians who entered Guyana between 2015 and 2021 through legal channels did not leave the country through those means and are now unaccounted for. But local authorities do not believe they have remained here, with the Guyana government now touting the imposition of visa requirements over concerns of people smuggling. Kurt Campbell joins us.
Over the last 6 years, a total of 42,100 Haitian nationals are recorded to have arrived in Guyana, according to figures confirmed by the newsroom. But of that number, only 3,913 persons are recorded to have departed. This means that a total of 38,187 Haitians are unaccounted for, but local authorities do not believe they are here. The figures have given rise to the suspicion that the Haitians are part of a human trafficking and human smuggling ring of international proportions, using Guyana as a transshipment point to get to other countries. A look at the figures for the first 5 months of 2021 shows that while 1,378 Haitians arrived in the country, only 165 departed, leaving 1,213 unaccounted for. During 2020, the country recorded the highest influx of Haitians, amounting to 9,239. But again, the figures confirm the grim reality, where only 717 departed Guyana through legal means, leaving 8,522 unaccounted for. The trend was the same in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, showing the arrival of thousands of Haitians, with a few hundred leaving. In February 2021, the Brazilian Federal Police arrested 26 Haitians who entered Bonfim illegally from Guyana through Lethem. Also, 2 weeks ago, local police arrested a number of Haitians in close vicinity to Lethem, Region 9. Several others were found subsequently at a hotel in Region 6 and claimed they were left there by persons who they claimed brought them into Guyana through Suriname and took away their passports and other documents. This has given rise to renewed discussions at the highest level of government to impose visa requirements that would target Haitians and Cubans. According to the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal, the government intends to tackle the issue.
We have to tackle this issue once and for all. The Caribbean has done it. Only 3 countries now in the Caribbean are visa-free, have a visa-free immigration policy in relation to Haitians. Only 3 Caribbean countries. All the other Caribbean countries had to put in place visa requirements because of the same thing. Guyana is moving in that direction.
Nandlal said Guyanese authorities would have to take a position against the country being used as an international smuggling transshipment point.
They enter Guyana and they do not remain here. Very few leave through the channels that they came.
Despite becoming a full member of the 15-member Regional Integration Grouping in 2002, as well as being a signatory to the CARICOM Single Market and Economy CSME in 2006, Haiti does not qualify for the purpose of free movement and had to obtain a visa to travel from CARICOM member states. As a consequence, Haitians do not enjoy the automatic 6-month stay on entry to other CARICOM countries. Guyana, however, had extended the courtesy of allowing the automatic 6-month stay, even though it was not required to do so. It has long been suspected that there is a huge trafficking in persons and human smuggling ring, including children, taking place in the region, and Guyana is being used as a transshipment point. The Brazilian government has already expressed concern about the situation. The Surinamese government has also shared intelligence which suggests that the racket extends to that neighboring republic.
An accident on the John Finance Wharf on Water Street, Georgetown on Tuesday claimed the life of 36-year-old Sheldon Wilson, a truck driver of Hand-in-Velt, Mahaica, East Coast, Demerara. A police report noted that Wilson was driving motor lorry GNN 7207 when he went to the wharf to collect feed from a boat at around 12 hours 30. After collecting the feed, he began driving, but the truck went over the rails and into the river. Several persons jumped into the river to rescue Wilson. He was taken out of the truck by a laborer of John Finance Wharf and later taken to St. Joseph's Mercy Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Investigations are ongoing. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, will now have to take steps to fill the vacant posts of its chief accountant and its legal officer. This is according to government-nominated Commissioner Bibi Shadiq, who said that while the chief accountant, Joseph Eastman's contract was not renewed, the legal officer, Excellence Dazzle, has resigned. She told the newsroom that they were both found to be doing private work in their respective fields in breach of their contracts and were sent on vacation leave when Shadiq, brought the matter to the attention of the Commission. Eastman had initially sought to fight moves by the 3 government-nominated GECOM commissioners who were not in favor of renewing his contract. But according to Shadiq, while the Commission was meeting on Tuesday, Eastman submitted a letter indicating that he no longer wished to have his contract renewed.
The chief accountant, who had applied for his contract to be renewed, we were opposing that, of course. But you see, we got to oppose everything because the chief accountant has not been doing a proper job. The Auditor General's reports are all very thick and so on. And then added to which, the chief accountant is engaged in private accounting business for which he advertises. And so the chief accountant today was opposing he wanted to be renewed. But then today he wrote a letter that he no longer wants his contract renewed. He's not going to come back. So he had gone, he had proceeded on leave too. So he has gone. The LO, had gone too, right? Because we had the same issue. And so these are going to go now. They're not going to come back. I'm going to tell you that.
There was a similar issue with Dazzle, who was also reportedly found to be engaged in private practice while working at GECOM and in breach of her contract. According to Shadiq, she had moved a motion asking for the legal officer to be removed. Dazzle subsequently went on leave and resigned. Demerara Bank, founded in 1994 through the persistence of an entrepreneurial icon, Dr. Yesu Persaud, has come in for high praises for being the first domestic bank to access a US $7 million line of credit through the Inter-American Development Bank's Trade Finance Facilitation Program. Kurt Campbell has our story.
In November 2020, Demerara Bank was signed to the Inter-American Development Bank's Trade Finance Facilitation Program and was granted a line of credit facility to be used to support local small and medium enterprises. On Wednesday, the credit was disbursed to 5 local companies in the mining, agriculture, and manufacturing sectors. The beneficiaries are manufacturing giant Demerara Distillers Limited, 2 family-operated group of rice mills, A. Kayum Haq and Son, and Golden Fleece Rice Investment, and 2 companies involved in the gold mining industry, Dinar Trading and Pure Diamonds Inc. Demerara Bank's application over the years, which has seen it grown into one of the leading domestic banks, was repeatedly credited and praised for ensuring the manifestation of the much-needed partnership at a time when local businesses are reeling from the effects of countrywide flooding and amid the global COVID-19 pandemic. During a ceremony at the bank's headquarters in Camp Road, Georgetown on Wednesday, where the first batch of approved businesses was issued letters of sanction, the bank's Chief Executive Officer Pravin Chandra Dave explained that while the institution welcomed the financing through the IDB, it hopes to ensure it is paid off on good terms so that the line of credit can be widened going forward.
Where they have promises that this is the first thing and it will be revolving. Once you pay it off, then you can get it again. And we want to widen our network. In this facility also, we are helping 2 big rice millers who in turn will try to help those farmers.
Additionally, IDB's country representative Sophie McConnon explained that the discussions to ensure the line of credit lasted for about 3 years. She said it started with many of the same persons present in the room on Wednesday, and it ignited an emotion of satisfaction that even during the pandemic, this could have been achieved. She said the IDB was happy to support local banks, which, as part of the private sector, is poised to lead Guyana's economic transformation.
We recognize the importance of supporting growth, and the growth is also about supporting the private sector because it's critical and fundamental, and it's a part of the development of a country. And with all the opportunities that are now presenting themselves, and we all know we see it coming, the private sector is poised to be part of this transformation. And the banks are here to support the private sector, thus the line of credit. And why? The small businesses, they play a crucial role in the economy because they are the main source of employment, not in Latin America or in the Caribbean, and Guyana is no different.
Meanwhile, addressing the impact of this partnership on the local economy, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh said the government's role in ensuring the environment was conducive must not be ignored. He congratulated Demerara Bank for being the first Guyanese bank to access the facility and says he hopes it expands across the local private sector.
If I'm not mistaken, Demerara Bank is the first Guyanese bank to access this facility. I believe one other Guyanese bank has since accessed the facility. But I congratulate you on being the first Guyanese bank to have accessed the TFFP facility through the IDB. And I congratulate the IDB for taking this very important step to partner with the domestic financial sector.
He noted that Guyana is on the verge of remarkable transformation of its economy, and once it gets over the countrywide flooding and the promise that the then being
The bank was launched with problems, but we've been able to overcome those problems. And today I am saying this, I'm proud to say, I believe we are on the turn now. We are likely before the end of this year to be the #1 bank in Guyana, coming way back without any help. And our customer...
We are second, Chair.
Sorry?
We are only second.
No, we're only second, but I am anticipating.
Yeah, we should go.
Mr. Dave,
Yes.
I am challenging you now.
I accept it. I fully accept it.
In a message to the bank's customers and clients, Dr. Persaud says, "We hope we wouldn't let you down." For the Newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
When the newsroom returns, Guyana orders an additional 86,000 doses of the Russian-made Sputnik V vaccines, and a Region 1 man is missing and his family fears he was attacked by a wild animal. You're watching the Newsroom. One of the contractors working on the Sheriff Street Georgetown roundabout project has blamed the prolonged disruption in traffic on errant drivers whom he claims are unaware of how to use the intersection. The contractor, Barrett Ramsaran's point was cemented further when the newsroom visited the area on Wednesday and noted a number of traffic violations on camera. Shakima Day has our story.
A roundabout is a type of circular intersection or junction in which road traffic is permitted to flow in one direction around the central island, and priority is given to traffic already in the junction. But what was observed at the Sheriff Street roundabout on Wednesday by the newsroom was far from this description. There have been a slew of complaints regarding the constant traffic disruptions at the intersection, which is still under construction. Fingers were pointed at the Chinese contractor Sino Hydro Corporation Limited. However, one subcontractor, Barrett Ramsaran, who is currently executing works there, claimed that the traffic disruptions are caused by drivers who are unaware of how to use the intersection. These disruptions, which include a minibus stopping on the intersection for passengers, were caught on camera by the newsroom.
So the main problem is the drivers them. At the present moment, some of them don't understand the roundabout. Because some of them coming from that way, instead of they come around here, they go in that way. When they reach the traffic, they got to reverse back, it's a whole line back up.
Ramsaran, who was subcontracted to complete the construction of the pavements and drains, said that the intersection is missing vital traffic signs to help guide drivers. However, he explained that those cannot be placed until the road is capped a further 2 inches. Further, the contractor said to further ease the daily confusion, drivers should exercise caution when using the intersection.
As you can see there, it's supposed to be a stop sign there. When you're coming around this roundabout, the vehicle on the roundabout have to gain the most access because there is supposed to be a junction stop, one there and one here. Vehicle coming from the way is supposed to go straight, supposed to be a junction stop. The reason why you cannot get the junction stop at the moment because the road is not completed. This road have to cap back 2 inches more.
What does cap back mean?
This got to raise. This road here have to raise to reach this level of this. So that's why they can't put no line on the roundabout at the moment for guide the vehicles them. Cars have to use precaution. Keep your eyes open. Mostly the minibus them finding themselves stopping on the roundabout for the passenger. If they could use, if the contractor for the road could use a temporary bus stop, so the passengers them could find themselves to the bus stop, to gain access to the bus, he would ease the congestion.
In a bid to remedy the disruptive flow of traffic on a daily basis, the contractors carrying out upgrades to the Sheriff Street and Mandela Avenue had reached an agreement with the Ministry of Public Works back in March to commence paving during the curfew hours of 22:30 hours to 4 a.m. However, works are still being completed during normal hours. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
An additional 86,000 doses of the Russian-made Sputnik V vaccines were ordered by the Ministry of Health to bolster the ongoing COVID-19 vaccination rollout, according to the Health Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony. Vishani Raghavir reports.
A total of 229,053 people, or 47.1% of the targeted adult population, have received either their first dose of the AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, or Sputnik V vaccines that are currently used in Guyana's vaccination rollout, according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. The minister also noted that more than 100,000 people received both their first and second doses of the vaccine.
With second dose, we have now achieved, I would say, a milestone because we are now at 101,246 persons who would have received their second dose. This would be approximately 20.8% of our population, and I think this is a milestone worth celebrating because approximately 20% of our population is now fully immunized. And as we have said before, with persons who have received both doses of their vaccines, we have not seen any of those persons coming to the hospital, meaning that they don't get the severe form of the infection, nor have they been admitted to any of our ICUs or die from COVID. So I think that's a very important thing for people to understand.
Meanwhile, the health minister also noted that about 75% of the people aged 60 years and older, or about 3/4 of that population, have also now received their COVID-19 vaccines. The minister also addressed concerns over the continued delay in the supply of the second doses of the Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccines, which he previously said may have been caused by a surge in the cases in Moscow, Russia.
We continue to work to try to get those vaccines into Guyana. But I want to make this point as well. One, you have between 4 weeks to 12 weeks to get your second dose. We have not exceeded that 12 weeks yet. And we are working very hard to make sure that we get those second doses in before that 12 weeks expire. Because initially what we were doing, and that's before we were informed by the Gamaleya Institute that you can go up to 12 weeks, we were literally writing on the card, come back in 4 weeks. but they have since given us the scientific evidence, they have since given us additional information, and they have told us that they have changed the protocol to go between 4 to 12 weeks. So most people who have received their first dose vaccines, they have not exceeded that 12 weeks, right? So we still have time. We're working very hard to make sure that we can get those vaccines in, and I am reassured that we will get it before that 12 weeks expire.
In the meantime, the health minister has encouraged people who are not yet vaccinated to go take their vaccines at any of the vaccination centers across Guyana. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Raghavir.
Roshan Vera, a 23-year-old man of Maruka in the Northwest District in Region 1 who left his home last Friday for Aranka Bagdam in Region 7, has gone missing, and his family fears he was attacked by a wild animal. His cousin, Dion Lacruz, who spoke to the newsroom on Wednesday via telephone, explained that he went to the Bagdam in search of work in the company of 7 other men. Lacruz said he was told that when the men arrived at the work location, the conditions were unsuitable, so they opted to leave. On the journey out, the men reportedly heard the sound of a motorcycle. Fearing the worst, they decided to hide in the bushes until the cycle passed. According to Lacruz, after an hour elapsed, the men came out of hiding. However, Vera could not be found.
So they decided to hide in the bush, like 4 men 20 meters apart and 4 men on the other side 20 meters apart. And they wait in the bush about approximately about an hour in the bush. So after that, they decided to come out back in the road. So 7 men came out back in the road, but except this Roshan Vera, he didn't come out up to now. So according to the 3 guys that he went to hide with, they just said that he been continuing going more in the bush. Like he get panicked, he get afraid, and he decided to go more in the bush. Unfortunately, then they tried to locate him, they tried to search for him. They went back to the camp, they went looking for him, and they couldn't find him. We don't know what happened to him, if snake bite him, if tiger, or if he come out to another judge camp to work or wherever, but the family is worried and they're trying to locate him now.
Lacruz said a formal report has been made with the police and a search has since commenced for the missing man. The family is asking anyone with information to please contact the nearest police station. Sand Creek, the South Rupununi village in Region 9, Upper Takutu, Upper Essequibo, has been grappling with another spike in the number of people infected with the disease COVID-19, and as such, the village council has imposed another lockdown. Vishani Raghavir reports.
A number of COVID-19 cases were recorded earlier in June after students at the dormitory were displaying symptoms of the disease. After testing those students, and then a number of students were confirmed positive, additional testing was done in the village and an outbreak was confirmed. As a result, the village went into a lockdown where non-essential traveling was prohibited. Still, on Sunday last, Deputy Tushao Jude Isaacs related that 22-year-old teacher from Sand Creek, Marbeline Marco, died at the Lethem Hospital in Region 9, where she was admitted after testing positive for COVID-19. At the weekend also, Isaacs related that there were about 90 active cases. Since then, however, 27 people have been discharged since they have recovered from disease. Still, yet another 5 people were confirmed positive on Tuesday.
We train out here. We've had the flood in the village. We have had the flood in the village that damaged the farms with the cassava that we, the Amerindians, depend on. And people are still trying to make use of what is left there by the flood, to make little farine, cassava bread, whatever to live on. And during that time now, there comes the pandemic.
Right.
So that is where we've been hit by the flood and we've been hit by the pandemic. Already we have lost one of our teachers. Sad to see that, but there's nothing much we could have done.
Isaacs also indicated that the community's health workers are not able to adequately respond to the needs of the community since they do not have fixed transportation. Contextually, Sand Creek is considered to be the largest indigenous community in South Rupununi with approximately 1,600 residents. As such, he said that the provision of an all-terrain vehicle, ATV, would help the health authorities tremendously. Since the community is on a lockdown, he also said that additional food supplies would be much needed at this time. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Raghavir.
When the newsroom returns, 3 members of the LGBTQ community share their stories of hardship in Guyana. You're watching the newsroom. More than 100,000 people have received both their first and second doses of one of the 3 COVID-19 vaccines administered locally and are now deemed to be fully immunized against the severe impacts of the disease COVID-19. This is according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, who spoke during his daily COVID-19 update on Wednesday. Vishani Raghavir has our story.
A total of 229,053 people, or 47.1% of the targeted adult population, have received either their first dose of the AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, or Sputnik V vaccines that are currently used in Guyana's vaccination rollout, according to Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. The minister also noted that more than 100,000 people received both their first and second doses of the vaccine.
With second dose, we have now achieved, I would say, a milestone, because we are now at 101,246 persons who would have received their second dose. This would be approximately 20.8% of our population, and I think this is a milestone worth celebrating, because approximately 20% of our population is now fully immunized. And as we have said before, with persons who have received both doses of their vaccines, we have not seen any of those persons coming to the hospital, meaning that they don't get the severe form of the infection, nor have they been admitted to any of our ICUs or die from COVID. So I think that's a very important thing for people to understand.
Meanwhile, the health minister also noted that about 75% of the people aged 60 years and older, or about 3/4 of that population, have also now received their COVID-19 vaccines. The minister also addressed concerns over the continued delay in the supply of the second doses of the Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccines, which he previously said may have been caused by a surge in the cases in Moscow, Russia.
We continue to work to try to get those vaccines into Guyana. But I want to make this point as well. One, you have between 4 weeks to 12 weeks to get your second dose. We have not exceeded that 12 weeks yet. And we are working very hard to make sure that we get those second doses in before that 12 weeks expire. Because initially what we were doing, and that's before we were informed by the Gamaleya Institute that you can go up to 12 weeks, we were literally writing on the card, come back in 4 weeks. But they have since given us the scientific evidence, they have since given us additional information, and they have told us that they have changed the protocol to go between 4 to 12 weeks. So most people who have received their first dose vaccines, they have not exceeded that 12 weeks, right? So we still have time. We are working very hard to make sure that we can get those vaccines in, and I am reassured that we will get it before that 12 weeks expire.
In the meantime, the health minister has encouraged people who are not yet vaccinated to go take their vaccines at any of the vaccination centers across Guyana. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Raghavir.
The month of June is recognized as Gay Pride Month, dedicated to celebrating the LGBTQ community and their struggles against discrimination and social ostracization. In a piece produced by the newsroom's Nigel Emmanuel, 3 members of the LGBTQ community shared their stories of what pride means to them and how they overcame the stigma and discrimination they face daily in Guyana.
My name is Marcus King. I'm a trans man.
My name is Katyani Jasmine Rattan, and I identify myself as a trans woman.
Hi everyone, my name is Savannah Williams, and I'd like to call myself a pansexual.
I prefer to be called King, and my pronouns are him, he, his. So I'm going to share with you a little about a trans man. A trans man is a female that transitioned to male. I don't have to transition to identify as a trans, because most persons say, King, why you identify as a trans and you're not transitioning? Being a trans is a feeling, is in something inside of you, identify because you feel that way. So I don't have to transition to be a trans man, but I do want to transition someday.
Well, you all know that a pansexual is somebody who can be attracted to any gender, sex, whatever the case is. Well, I'd like to say I like whoever I like, so yeah, I'm a pansexual.
Pride is very important to persons that living in the LGBT community because we come together and we celebrate. So lesbian, bisexual, gays, transgender, even persons that support the LGBT community come together. So we have different activities that we conduct, like Fun Day, we have symposium, we have talent night. So we celebrate it.
Well, it is important to me because, and not only me, to my other fellow LGBTQ persons, brothers and sisters out there, because we need to be heard, we need to be seen for who we are, and I think people should know that we are here and we are individuals and we're human, despite our flaws.
Okay, well, for me personally, and I'm sure many other persons in the community, Pride Month speaks about being happy about yourself. It speaks about feeling free and liberated as the person that you are. Pride Month is what brings the community together as one, where everybody can feel absolutely comfortable about themselves around each other. So yeah, for me, I would say that that's what Pride Month is like for me.
Bringing awareness to our communities, educating persons about the LGBT community, because the lack of knowledge causes people to act up and treat the LGBT community with this stigma and discrimination. So I think, yes, we've been doing awareness, but I think more work needs to be done so persons could be educated and accept the LGBT community.
I think education plays a major role in that. People should be educated about us, how to deal with us, how to treat us, or what they should do when they approach us or when we approach them, so they wouldn't be, what's the word? They wouldn't have a rational experience. They should have a rational experience about how to approach us then. Like, say, for example, in schools, there are younger ones other than me who are scared to come out. And I think teachers and principals and stuff and persons like that should be educated on how to deal with gay persons or a person from the LGBTQ community, same as nurses and doctors as well.
What I would give to people to help them cope with, the new situation and what's not, is that everybody has their life to live. And I know most people grew up in a household whereby, being gay is a sin and all these things. But when you look at it, right, people have their own lives to live. You have yours. Why does it bother you the way they live their life? I mean, they don't know you, you don't know them. Why do you care? Just allow people to be themselves, allow people to be happy, allow people to, be comfortable being a human, because, they are humans still. So yeah, that would be my advice.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport with Avinash Ramzan. I'm Neil Marks. Take care.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some cricket news. New Zealand were crowned the first Test world champions after completing a stunning 8-wicket win over India on a dramatic 6th day of the final in Southampton. A draw looked likely when play began, but New Zealand dismissed India and completed a tricky chase of 139 with relative ease as time ran out. India resumed 64 for 2, 32 runs ahead, only for Kyle Jamieson to remove captain Virat Kohli and Cheteshwar Pujara just before their lead had passed 40. Rishabh Pant gave India hope with a counter-attacking 41, but skied a catch to Henry Nicholls, who clung on brilliantly running back from gully. Pant's wicket sparked the loss of the last 4 wickets for 14 runs and left India 40 short of what would have been a challenging target. New Zealand lost openers Tom Latham and Devon Conway with the finish line more than 100 runs away, but captain Kane Williamson and the experienced Ross Taylor steered New Zealand home comfortably. Williamson, who was crucially overturned an LBW dismissal, went on 1, finished on 52 not out, and Taylor put down on 27 by Pujara, unbeaten on 47 as New Zealand won with 7 overs left. It saw New Zealand topple cricket's superpower India and claim the biggest win in their history, their first triumph in a major global cricket tournament. Now, West Indies Test captain Craig Brathwaite has commended the team on their improved fielding during the recently concluded Test series against South Africa and pointed to their assistant coach, the Guyanese Ryan Griffith, for his influence. Head coach Phil Simmons also applauded the players for a stellar effort in the field.
The catching was on top for most of the series. How is it working with fielding coach Griffith?
Well, Griff does a magnificent job. He's a guy that's always willing, always full of energy, and he works very hard. So it's very good, to see that, his hard work is showing, for obviously the public to see, because I think he does a magnificent job along with all the coaches. But, he's doing a very good job. So it's really good to see he's getting, some rewards that you guys could see.
I think the catching performance has been absolutely incredible. I think some of the catches, especially Jason Holder's one-handed catch, is something that we can always bounce back on and keep looking at it and be amazed at it. I think we've caught well, we've fielded well. So the fielding side of it has been great.
And the former West Indies cricket captain Darren Sammy is the newest member of the Cricket West Indies Board of Directors following his appointment as an independent non-member director by the CWI board. With over 14 years of international cricket experience, Sammy is celebrated by many in the region and across the world as a charismatic and inspirational figure, renowned for leading the West Indies to back-to-back ICC World T20 titles in 2012 and 2016. Sammy was the first international cricketer from his native St. Lucia, where the national stadium has been named in his honor. He has captained the Windward Islands cricket team in addition to several domestic T20 leagues, both regionally and internationally. Sammy is also the current head coach of the Peshawar Zalmi in the Pakistan Super League and a cricket consultant with the St. Lucia Zouks in the Caribbean Premier League. His appointment to the CWI Board of Directors is in keeping with 2 of the fundamental principles which have guided CWI's improvement strategy for the past 2 years: increased utilization of regional technical expertise and the implementation of a cricket-first policy. It is expected that Sammy's appointment will add a fresh and more youthful perspective as well as a high level of updated cricket know-how to enhance the existing expertise in the CWI boardroom. Re-elected president of the Athletics Association of Guyana, Aubrey Hudson, has rated the performance of his council an average grade of C for his previous 4-year tenure. Akeem Green reports.
In January 2017, Hudson was elected for his 2nd consecutive time as AAG president. The other elected officials were Cheryl Hermanstein, 1st vice president, the late Colin Ming, 2nd vice president, along with Niall Stanton, treasurer, and Elton Bullers, assistant treasurer. The committee members were Keith Campbell, Lyndon Wilson, Yvonne October, Silas Brummel, and Buster Wright. After being re-elected for a 3rd term on Sunday, Hudson was quizzed on how he rated the performance of the council over the last 4 years.
I think the council as a whole, I would not give it a good grade over the past few years. There are few workers, and the more workers that come on board is the better it's going to be. But there are few people who are working and more people talking. So I would really and truly like to give us a A grade in the future. But if the same thing continues, trust me, we're going to continue to fail our athlete. So I would take it an average. I would give it a C.
The AAG head indicated that he's seeking more assistance from other members of the council in the execution of programs.
More dedication from the executive, more not lip service, but working people. Why Hudson, the president, must come and put up the camera for a track meet? Why do I have to be so actively involved? Simply because people don't want to learn, people don't get involved. Because when it comes to the hard work of this association, what we find is that we have a lot of talkers and less doers. What we need is more people coming out here, learning the stuff, understanding track and field, knowing the athletes. So whenever we sit down to do selection, they would know what they're talking about. Understanding Guyana in its relation with both NACAC and South American athletics and world athletics. Getting the opportunity to really and truly represent your country at those forums and rubbing shoulders with the right people is what's going to move us ahead administratively. But we still have to deal with our athletes' development, and we have to find ways of means of developing our athletes through our coaches and the necessary programs.
At Sunday's election, Hudson won when first Vice President Cheryl Hermanstein conceded after 4 consecutive rounds of voting were tied 5-all. Other elected executives were retired Colonel Paul Arthur as the second Vice President, Dwayne Carter, Treasurer, and Elton Bullers, Assistant Treasurer. The committee members are Keith Campbell, Lennon Phillips, Telson Williams, Nell Stanton, and Major Tyrone Smith. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Meanwhile, the national senior and long jump champion Emmanuel Archibald has signed a 1-year contract with Malta Carib that will see him become the face of the product locally. The top sprinter and long jumper has a significant chance to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics in July-August, and Malta Carib will cover Archibald's ticket to the Bahamas, where he will compete in a qualifying event this weekend. Archibald said he's enthused to accomplish a goal he set in 2018, which was to be rewarded in such a way for the hard work he has been putting in. Archibald will be heading to the Bahamas on Thursday, where he will participate in a meet that can possibly raise his ranking in the long jump while trying to qualify for the men's 100 meters at the Olympic Games. And finally, after a 2-year break from international competition, mostly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Guyana's national women's indoor hockey team is scheduled to compete in the Indoor Pan American Cup from June 25 to 27 in the USA. The players and management team departed Guyana on Wednesday morning for the host nation. With training being suspended for most of 2020, the ladies resumed training on the strict COVID-19 social distancing measures earlier this year and have been working hard to make up for lost time. The Guyana Hockey Board is cognizant of the fact that all participating countries have experienced various levels of disruption, and so Guyana was not the only country that needed to prepare a team in short time. The ladies have been training at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall under the guidance of head coach Philip Fernandes. Only 5 players remain in the team that contested the last Indoor Pan Am Championship held for the first time in Guyana in 2017. Those players are goalkeeper Alicia Chavert, Tricia Woodruff, Marzana Fidgau, Captain Gabriela Chavert, and Alia Gordon. Added to the team will be defensive stopper Makeda Harding, the young Spartan trio of Abasidi Cadogan, Madison Fernandes, and Sarah Cloudkey, the experienced defender Ashley de Groot, and the baby of the team, Saints striker Clazer Bob. According to coach Philip Fernandes, this is the youngest ever squad to represent Guyana, but one that is packed with talent. He's excited by the several teenagers in the lineup, as he feels that they are among the most talented players in recent years in the women's program and have responded well to the training. He said, and I quote, "It was a challenge to get the young players to understand systems and team attack and defense concepts in such a short time, as there is no substitute for experience, but these girls have the skills and hockey intelligence to be competitive." End quote. Guyana will face the host nation USA in their first match on June 25 at 11:30. USA women are the defending champions who represented the Americas in the last Indoor World Cup in Berlin, Germany. The USA is the top-ranked Pan-American team at number 12 in the world and will further benefit from competing on their home court where the team has been encamped. Guyana is the lowest-ranked team in the competition at 31, with Argentina at 16, Canada 18, and Uruguay 22. After their clash with the USA, the Guyanese ladies will then face Argentina at 18 hours the same day before Canada and Uruguay the following day. The winner of this year's Indoor Pan Am Cup will secure a spot to represent the Americas in the next Indoor World Cup scheduled for Belgium in 2022. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.